Hey guys, Marsing here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today on both versions of the game, along with the Super Easy A's for AGL Super Vegito and Int Buhan, we got the Extreme Z Dokkan Festival banner. Now, the funny thing to point out about this is, I'd actually double check it in the game if it actually even comes up with a title, but it is listed in the data and on the Dokkan info site as the Super Gogeta and Super Janemba Easy A banner. Even though, obviously, the only characters that are getting their Super Easy A as of today is Vegito and Buhan. Now, we know from the data download the other day that Gogeta and Janemba are getting their Super Easy A's. But I guess it's probably one of those things. I mean, at this point, like I joked about it in previous videos, right, of like not saying the leak that we saw for part 2 that they don't want people spreading around. But at this point, we all know what it is, right? And I'm not going to put it in like the thumbnails and the titles and stuff like that. But we all know that the part 2 Dokkan Fest is Gogeta. So it makes a lot of sense that Gogeta and Janemba would get a Super Easy A, but potentially not until part 2. So they're going to be on this banner. So if you were to summon on it, you can get copies of Super Vegito or Buhan who've got their Super Easy A as of today, and you could get copies of Gogeta and Janemba who are hopefully going to get their Super Easy A's, I would imagine, in part 2. Whether there'll be technically a part 3 or an EX part, or however they want to do it, I'm not too sure. But anyway, the interesting thing that we wanted to talk about, I mean, you can see from the title and the thumbnail, obviously, the main subject of discussion for today is that the other slot on the banner, there are 5 featured units. And as you can see, those 5 featured units are Int Buhan, Super Vegito, got their Super Easy A's, Gogeta and Janemba with their Super Easy A's incoming, and then TEQ. Now, TEQ is a unit that we've talked about a little bit recently when it comes to speculating about the anniversary and talking about those anniversary roadmap images. I mean, I've got this one here. This is a more zoomed in view, but it's got the bit that we care about here on the screen, which is the Android/Cell Saga portion of the roadmap, which up until this point was completely blank. Like, we can fill in the gaps. Obviously, with Buu Saga, we've now got the Vegito and Buhan Super Easy A's there. We've got the banner unit. We've got the free-to-play trunks. Saiyan Saga, we're all assuming, of course, is the Kaioken Goku and Great Ape Vegeta Easy A. Namek Saga, Namek Goku and Full Power Frieza Easy A. But Android/Cell Saga is, up until this point, just complete speculation. And if we're still going by the theory that the large slots means new cards and the small slots means Easy A's or Super Easy A's, we're expecting a new card in part 2, which a lot of people, I think every custom roadmap that I went over in that video the other day has a new Super Saiyan 2 Gohan as like the pick for a part 2 Carnival LR. And I'm pretty much leaning that way as well. But then that gives us 2 slots for an Easy A or Super Easy A. And I mentioned in the video where I made my own predictions that, especially if we are going to get a new Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, it makes perfect sense to get TEQ's Easy A in this spot here. Because TEQ, this guy obviously is from the old meta. If we take a look at his even way before his original Easy A, Tech Type 3 Key, Attack 3000, he is from the same set of Dokkan Fests as AGL Super Saiyan 3 Goku, STR Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, Physical Full Power Frieza, and Int Ultimate Gohan. And obviously, what's the connection between those units? Yes, the 4 that we just mentioned already have their Super Easy A's. So this TEQ is the only unit from that batch of like the type leaders from way back in the early days of Dokkan, the first year in fact. Way back then, these guys, he's the only one left from that group that doesn't have a Super Easy A. And of course, bear in mind that Gogeta had all types 3 key and 3000 attack. He was the one that came out to kind of crown off this group of characters because he then had the all-encompassing leader skill, and he should be getting his Super Easy A little bit later in the celebration as well. So it really does leave TEQ as the only one from that group. It makes a lot of sense for him to now be getting a Super Easy A as well, and that ties off that group of characters all having their Super Easy A's. Now this guy, he Easy A'd in 2018. His Easy A was pretty good at the time. He is a nuking style unit, 15% attack and defense per key sphere obtained, gets an extra key with each rainbow key sphere, and then he does immense damage, recovers 10% HP. Now, of course, with Super Easy A's, we know that they don't change the leader skill or the super attack effect. So the leader skill, it is what it is, right? We're not going to be using these characters as leaders anymore. The important thing is what they can add and contribute to the teams that they're on. Now, the super attack effect not changing is kind of bad for some of the old units because they don't really have super attack effects at all. Whereas this guy, he does at least have the recover 10% HP. So that means if he gets anything in his Super Easy A passive for additionals, or obviously gets additional through the hidden potential, that gives you another 10% heal. So he does have the potential to give quite a lot of healing if you are getting the multiple supers off within one turn. So even without his super attack effect actually changing, that could definitely come in quite handy. But then when we look at his passive, like as we just read it out, it's very bare bones. It's just a very basic nuking style passive. Now, the interesting thing is I wanted to take a look here, obviously, at Buhan that came out today. I've recorded the videos for him and Super Vegito, and those will be going up soon. But this guy is a nuking style character. And as you can see, for his passive pre-Super Easy A, it was 17% attack and 10% defense, and recovers a certain amount of HP. And then he, on Super Easy A, got a whole bunch of extra stuff, way more stats per key sphere, creates orbs in multiple different fashions, right? He changes TEQ orbs to rainbow, and then from the 5th turn, changes another type of orb to int. So they really like ramped up his ability to provide himself with the nuking mechanic. They also gave him support, which they gave to Super Vegito as well. I think almost every Super Easy A character, apart from Full Power Frieza, has had some kind of support in their passive, even if they weren't a support unit before. So what we can see from this is that they are obviously willing to give these characters some huge buffs. I mean, we know this already, right? Like Super Easy A's, I would say, on the whole, have been very, very successful so far. Some are worse than others, of course, but Super Easy A's have been very, very good so far. And considering, like I say, we go back to his pre-Easy A, and all he has is the 17% attack, 10% defense, and then HP per key sphere obtained. And obviously, all Cell has is attack and defense per key sphere obtained, and then extra key from rainbow orbs. So they gave Buhan a huge amount of start of turn attack of defense. They gave him a guaranteed additional super, and they gave him orb changing. Now, this guy has the potential to be very, very good. And he's on a lot of these good teams, not just things like Transformation Boost, Android/Cell Saga, but Artificial Life Forms, Planetary Destruction, Sworn Enemies, Accelerated Battle, Worldwide Chaos, Battle of Fate. Even teams like, you know, Resurrected Warriors, Androids, like they're not the craziest teams, Time Travelers. He's on a lot of really good teams. He's on Kamehameha, of course, which is kind of funny that some of these Cell and Boo characters end up being on there. But he's got big bad bosses. Obviously, his overall link set is not great because he has Revival. Messenger from the Future is not a great link. Attack of the Clones is a pretty terrible link that only a few Cell units have, same with Ultimate Lifeform. But he's got big bad bosses, he's got Fierce Battle. There's a lot of situations on extreme teams where those are probably going to end up being the only 2 links that he has active. So whilst that is in and of itself kind of a bad thing, it does maybe encourage you to think that hopefully they'll be, you know, giving him a lot more in the actual passive, because you are going to have this potential that he's not really going to have a lot of links active a lot of the time. So obviously by having a stronger passive, like giving him extra stats, maybe giving him that bit of support, that's obviously going to affect him as well and make him a significantly better performing unit, even though he's not going to have a ton of links active. But obviously being a big bad boss's character is big, because that always fits well on some of these teams. Teams like Sworn Enemies and Transformation Boost, where he can be run with some of these, like Buhan units, for example, with his Super Easy A, obviously going to be very, very good. And of course, JANEMBA with his upcoming Super Easy A. Accelerated Battle is a team that they share, as well as Transformation Boost. And it's another big bad bosses unit. Like, it's funny, we got no anniversary, we didn't get any new extreme units as like the headliners or anything, but literally within the one celebration, if all 3 of these units Super Easy A, I mean obviously he already has, but all 3 of these guys getting a Super Easy A, 3 very, very strong big bad bosses characters that will be able to work well together. And obviously if we do get a part 2 Gohan, if any part of his leader skill is Android/Cell Saga, then, you know, extreme or not, Cell's going to be on his team. If he's providing support, he's got the Kamehameha link, like, even though he's an extreme character, he could end up being really good on that team as well. So definitely a lot of interesting options here when it comes to Cell. His Super EZA, very much like a blank slate, considering how bare bones his current passive is with just the normal EZA level. So this guy has huge potential. I can't really think of many other reasons why he would be featured on this banner when all of the other characters are Super EZAs. Like, if they just wanted to throw a random EZA character on here, I feel like it would either make more sense to be like another Super Saiyan or Fusion, or another Buu character. I mean, I guess he is a big bad boss's character, so he has those links with Janemba and Buhan, but him being on the banner just seems to cry out that he's going to get the Super EZA. I couldn't find the exact tweet, but I know Proton mentioned the empty slots in the ID in the data for EZAs, and because they go in like chronological order by number, TEQ Cell was a very likely option for that slot anyway. And obviously, as we already discussed, there's the empty slots on the roadmap for Android/Cell Saga. So whilst nothing is 100% in Dokkan, this is speculation. Don't take this as like concrete confirmation, but I would say that with this banner lineup and Cell being randomly thrown on there, all signs point to him getting a Super EZA, hopefully by the end of the anniversary. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you think TEQ Cell is going to get his Super EZA? What would you like to see from his potential Super EZA? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.